Question number 151. A transfer a farm to B for his life with the proviso that in case B cuts down a certain wood, the transfer shall cease to have any effect. B cuts down the wood. What will be the effect of his life interest of farm? Option A, loses. Option B, secures. Option C, conditional loss. Option D, conditional secures. Correct answer is option A, that is loses. Question number 152. Which one of the following is not correctly matched? Options are contingent interest, section 21, direction for accumulation, section 17, fulfillment of conditions subsequent, section 30, priority of rights created by transfer, section 48. Here it has been asked which of the following is not correctly matched. Option C is not correctly matched. Question number 153. Which of the following deals with the doctrine of election? Correct answer is section 35. Section 35 deals with the doctrine of election. Question number 154. Which of the following provisions of TPA provides that a person taking the benefit of instrument must also bear the burden? Options are section 35, section 34, section 33, section 32. Correct answer is section 35. Question number 155. A man is not allowed to approbate and reprobate at the same time. This rule provides basis for which of the following? Doctrine of feeding of grant by estoppel, doctrine of part performance, doctrine of election, rule of redeem of foreclosure down. Here correct answer is option C, that is doctrine of election. Question number 156. Doctrine of election comes under the chapter of TPA. 7th, 2nd, 4th, 5th. Correct answer is option B, that is 2nd. Section 35 of the TPA is applicable to movable property, immovable property, every kind of property, all of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 158. The foundation of the doctrine of election under the TPA is that a person taking the benefit of an instrument must bear the burden, must not bear the burden. Burden is not the subject of election, none of the above. Here correct answer is option A, must bear the burden. Question number 159. The doctrine of election is applicable to Hindus, Muslims, Christians, all of the above. Correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 160. If the owner of the property elects to dissent from the transfer under section 35 of TPA, the disappointed transferee is entitled to be compensated when the transfer is gratuitous and the transferor dies before the election. The transfer is gratuitous and the transferor becomes incapable of making fresh transfer before election. The transfer is for consideration, all of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 161. Muhammad Afzal versus Ghulam Qasim 1903 is a leading case on which of the following? Rule against perpetuity, equity of redemption, doctrine of election, doctrine of holding over. Correct answer is option C, that is doctrine of election. Muhammad Afzal versus Ghulam Qasim is a leading case related to doctrine of election. Question number 162. The farm of Sultanpur is the property of C, worth rupees 8,000. A by an instrument of gift professed to transfer it to B, giving by the same instrument rupees 1 lakh to C. A dies before the election. B shall be entitled to get rupees 20,000 from C, entitled to get rupees 80,000 from C, entitled to get rupees 80,000 from A's representatives, not to be entitled to get any amount from anyone. Here correct answer is option C, entitled to get rupees 80,000 from A's representative. Question number 163. The provisions regarding apportionment by time is given under which of the following sections of TPA? Options are section 35, section 36, section 37, section 38. Here correct answer is option B, that is section 36. Section 36 of the TPA is related to the doctrine of election, doctrine of surplus, doctrine of acceleration, doctrine of apportionment. Correct answer is option D, that is doctrine of apportionment. Question number 165. Section 37 of the TPA on right to proceeds of revenue compensation on acquisition is based on doctrine of election, doctrine of substituted security, doctrine of marshalling, doctrine of contribution. Correct answer is option D, that is doctrine of contribution. Question number 166. Transfer Property Act. The right of a third person for maintenance cannot be enforced under section 39 against transferee who is gratuitous for consideration without notice of the right, gratuitous transferee without notice for consideration but with the notice of the right. Correct answer is option B, for consideration without notice of right. Question number 167. A has let house at a rent of rupees 100 payable on the last date of each month. A sells house to B on the 15th June. On 30th June, what will be the apportionment? Options are A will get rupees 100, B will get rupees 100, rupees 50 to A and rupees 50 to B. The tenant will be exempted from the payment of rent in that month. Here correct answer is option C, that is rupees 50 to A and rupees 50 to B. Question number 168. The transfer by ostensible owner is provided in which section of TPA? Options are section 38, section 39, section 40, section 41. Here correct answer is option D, that is section 41. Question number 169. Which one of the following is not correctly matched? Options are oral transfer, section 9 of TPA, rule against perpetuity, section 14 of TPA, doctrine of election, section 35 of TPA, transfer by sustainable owner, section 40 of TPA. Correct answer is option D, that is transfer by ostensible owner is not correctly matched. Question number 170. The transfer of property by ostensible owner for consideration shall be void, shall be valid, shall not be voidable, provided that transferee acted in good faith, shall be voidable. Correct answer is option C. Transfer property by ostensible owner shall not be voidable, provided that transferee acted in good faith. Question number 171. The case of Jaya Dayal Poddar versus BB Hazara is related to. Options are doctrine of election, doctrine of part performance, transfer by unauthorized person, ostensible owner. Here correct answer is option D, transfer by ostensible owner. Question number 172. Section 41 of the Transfer Property Act 1882 is the statutory application of the law of waiver, estoppel, res judicata, res sub judice. Correct answer is option B, that is estoppel. Question number 173. In Ram Kumar Kundu versus McQueen 1872 is related to. Options are lispendence, ostensible owner, part performance, mortgage. Correct answer is option B, ostensible owner. Question number 174. Section 41 of the TPA 1882 applies to voluntary transfer and has no applicable to court sale, contingent sale, perpetuity sale, priceless sale. Correct answer is option A, that is court sale. Question number 175. Principle laid down by the Privy Council as to the constructive notice of the real title as provided in section 41 was reaffirmed by the Supreme Court in. Correct answer is option C, that is Jumma Masjid Markara versus 𝐭𝐢𝐥𝐥. Question number 176. Section 41 of the Transfer Property Act 1882 is the statutory application of the law of estoppel. The statement is true, false, partly true, none of the above. Correct answer is option A, that is true. Question number 177. Which of the following case involving section 41 of the Transfer Property Act? Options are Suraj Ratan Tirani versus Azmabad Tea Company, Bellamy versus Sabine, Prabodh Kumar versus Janthamara Tea Company, Tulk versus Moxie. Here correct answer is option A, that is Suraj Ratan Tirani versus Azmabad Tea Company. Question number 178. Rule of feeding the estoppel is contained in section 41 of TPA, section 42, section 43, none of the above. Here correct answer is option C, that is section 43 of the Transfer Property Act. Rule of feeding estoppel is contained in. Question number 179. Doctrine which requires that the transferor must deliver the subsequently acquired property to the transferee who acted upon his false representation and did harm to himself by paying money for what he could not get is called rule against unjust enrichment, implied consent, feeding the grant by estoppel, doctrine of substantial compliance. Correct answer is option C, that is feeding the grant by estoppel. Question number 180. Section 43 of the TPA, which deals with the transfer by unauthorized person who subsequently acquires the interest in immovable property transferred, underlies the doctrine of. Options are actionable claim, estoppel by deed, estoppel by election, right of preemption. Correct answer is option B, that is estoppel by deed. Question number 181. Where a person transfers property representing that he has a present interest therein, whereas he has in fact only a space succession, the transfer is entitled to the benefit of section 43 if he has taken the transfer on the faith of that representation and for consideration as section 43 and section 6 clause A operate on different fields. The principle was laid down in Rajesh Kanta Roy versus Shanti Devi, Chunman Jha versus Ibadat Ali, Jumma Masjid Markara versus Kodi Mandindra Devaiya, Ram Baran Prasad versus Ram Rohit Hazara. Here the correct answer is option C, Jumma Masjid Markara versus Kodi Mandira Devaiya. Question number 182. Section 43 of the TPA enables a transferee to whom transferor has made a fraudulent or erroneous representation to lay hold at his option of any interest which the transferor may subsequently acquire in property, provided it does not adversely affect right of any subsequent purchaser for value without notice. Option A is the correct answer. Question number 183. Which one of the following is not an essential condition for section 43 of TPA? Options are The representation must be necessarily be fraudulent. The transferor makes a representation that he is competent to transfer. Transfer is of immovable property. Transfer is for consideration. Here in this question it has been asked which of the following is not an essential condition of section 43. So option A is not the essential condition of section 43, therefore will be the correct answer. Question number 184. A Hindu who has separated from his father B sells to C three fields X, Y and Z, representing that A is authorized to transfer these fields. Z does not belong to A, but on B's death A obtains Z. C did not rescind the contract. Contract become infructuous. C may acquire A to deliver Z to him. Contract is void. Contract is unenforceable. Here correct answer is option B, that is C may require A to deliver Z to him. Question number 185. X sells to Y property belonging to Z. Subsequently Z dies and the property devolves on X. By which doctrine the said sale is valid? Options are doctrine of estoppel, doctrine of promissory estoppel, doctrine of feeding the grant of estoppel, doctrine of estoppel by conduct. Correct answer is option C, that is doctrine of feeding the grant of estoppel. Question number 186. The principle of estoppel enunciated in section 115 of Indian Evidence Act find its expression in these sections of TPA. Options are section 35 and section 53A, section 41 and 43, section 35 and section 43, section 35, 43 and section 60. Correct answer is option B, that is section 41 and section 43. Question number 187. Section 44 of the TPA deals with transfer by two co-owners, transfer by one co-owner, transfer by three co-owners, transfer by all co-owners. Here correct answer is option B, that is transfer by co-owners. Question number 188. A co-owner of immovable property under TPA may make a valid transfer of property, only can give possession, only can give right to use for a short period, cannot make the transfer of that property. Here correct answer is option A, that is valid transfer of property. Question number 189. Where immovable property is transferred for consideration by persons living distinct interests therein, but their interests in the property are of equal value, the transferor are entitled to get equal share in the consideration, entitled to get unequal share in the consideration, entitled to get equal share subject to the further transfers in future, none of the above. Here correct answer is option A, that is entitled to get equal share in the consideration. Question number 190. The doctrine nemo dat quod non habet under the TPA Act is applied to. Options are section 41, section 42, section 43 and section 44. This is the correct answer. Option A is the right answer. Question number 191. Nemo dat quod non habet. No man can confer a better title than that which he himself has is an established principle of rule of transfer of property, rule of law of torts, rule of law of crimes, rule of contract. Correct answer is option A, that is rule of transfer of property. Question number 192. Under section 49 of TPA, the transferee is entitled to the benefits of the insurance covered against the loss of damage by fire, encroachment, natural calamity, none of the above. Correct answer is option A, that is fire. Question number 193. Within the meaning of section 51 of the Transfer Property Act, the transferee is not entitled to value of improvements, is entitled to value of improvements, has conditional entitlement to value of improvements, none of these. Correct answer is option B, that is entitled to value of improvements. Question number 194. He who seeks equity must do equity. The juristic basis of which of the following section of TPA? Correct answer is section 51. Question number 195. Doctrine of lis pendens is dealt under section dash of TPA. Correct answer is section 52. Doctrine of lis pendens. Question number 196. The literary meaning of lis pendens is a suit under consideration of any court of law. A is the right answer. Question number 197. Under section 52 of TPA, the transferee will be bound by the result of the suit if he has knowledge of the litigation, if he had no knowledge of the litigation, even made bona fide inquiry, if he has paid adequate consideration for the purchase, whether the transferee has knowledge or not as to the litigation. Correct answer is option D, whether the transferee has knowledge or not as to the litigation. Question number 198. Section 52 of TPA imposes a prohibition on transfer or otherwise dealing of any property during the pendency of a suit, provided the conditions laid down in sections are satisfied. The statement is false, true, partly true, none of the above. Correct answer is option B, that is true. Question number 199. Rule of lis pendens is applicable to suits for specific performance of contract to transfer the immovable property. The statement is false, true, partly true, depends on the facts of the each case. Here correct answer is option B, that is true. Question number 200. Bellamy versus Sabine case is related with which doctrine? Options are doctrine of perpetuity, doctrine of election, lis pendens, part performance. Correct answer is lis pendens.